Hello, my little weirdos. Just gonna do a quick uh, language, English language review. Okay? Who knows what an oligarchy is? Raise your hand. Who knows? Who knows? If you know what an oligarchy is, do you know what America is supposed to be? Who knows? Raise your hand. A democracy? Yes. It's actually specifically a democratic republic. But yes. Do you know that oligarchy is a type of government? Yeah. For those of you who don't know, an oligarchy means it's a government run by rich, powerful, wealthy people. I mean, the most powerful and wealthiest people in the world are the ones who get all the power. Excuse me, that means like the Senate, the House of Representatives, all of it are millionaires or, in that category. You're going to say, whoa, inside trading. True. If inside trading, there's a lot of them, but not all of them. And that is not what our leaders, excluding the 45th one and the incoming one, that's basically everybody has stayed within that framework. You've never seen people being put into those positions as an entry level. I mean, some of these people, they did not come in with all that money, with all the trading, I mean, they make a decent living all the time. So that's if anybody was watching, listening to President Biden's farewell address, that part that he was talking about, warning about, yeah, that's what's coming in on Monday. And he was trying to also warn you that people that are rich and powerful, not all of them, but the ones that make sure they're known and all the things they do, those kind of people, it's not good to have them generally in government, because what they care about, bottom line, when the hits the fan, is them keeping their wealth and power and expanding on it. That's really, bottom line, Titanic situation. Those are the people that are going to grab the door for themselves and not even let anybody else hold on to the door. So, just in case you were wondering. And it's interesting, as if America has... You guys who voted red really need to learn a lot, because I've told you, and other places have told you, the day after the election, the two most Googled, searched term was, can I change my vote? And what is a tariff? How do tariffs work? You know what the biggest number one search after President Biden's farewell address? You got it. What is an oligarchy? Is that why y'all voted red, so many of you? Because you didn't understand when we were warning you about things, when we were saying things and doing the graphics about tariffs? You just didn't know what the word tariff was, so you just ignored it? Is that why you voted? Is that why you voted red? The ones who voted for him for the first time? Is that what's going on? You just didn't understand our normal, typical English words? I mean, I'm starting to wonder now. If a lot of people just didn't understand the words, and you guys, if you're reading a book and you don't understand a word, do you just skip over it? Oh wait, I said reading a book. My bad. Honestly, guys, you need to do better. And you need to stop relying on Democrats to dumb down our vocabulary for you. Seriously. That's a term that you should know. I mean, I understood that term in high school. For real. And it's not a braggy thing. It's just that's stuff you learn when you're learning about history and leaders of different worlds. They teach you about different capitalism. Social studies. Hello. Or the other term for that course, that topic, history. Really, guys? Don't complain that you don't understand the words and that it's our fault because I've heard a few people say, well, if you didn't use words that we didn't know, we would have understood what you were saying. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? How about if you don't understand a word that seems to come easily off an average person like me? You all, a lot of you insult me, say I'm stupid, all this stuff. But you don't understand some of the words I use. Well, I'm not going to say who's the stupid one there, but it's not stupid that you don't understand the word. It's stupid that you don't understand the words and you just ignore them. It's like taking something apart, putting it back together, and there's a couple extra parts. And you're like, well, it seems to be working, so I guess they don't matter. It's the same concept. It's the same thought of I hate to say it goes back to education. And saying that they didn't teach me in school is a fair, but it's also a cop-out. It would have been fair in my generation, any generation that didn't grow up with pretty much just most people having a computer and internet access in the home. Okay? You know how we had to do book essays or book reports or stuff like that? We had to use books. We had to use encyclopedias. We had to go to the library, not to the library to use a computer, to use their card catalog. Yeah, you don't know what that is? Go look it up. We had to go look in the archives on microfilm. Don't know what that is? That's what I'm saying. Y'all have information literally at your fingertips here, people. If you hear a word that anybody is saying, it doesn't have to be Democrats, it doesn't have to be any political party. You hear something in a TED Talk or a professor say something, or the sanitation guy who happens to be smart, and you don't understand a word, so you do one of two things. Ask what that word means, or if you don't want to look like you're stupid, look it up. See, even on computers these days, in our day, you had to know how to spell the word too, and you couldn't just do spell check because we didn't have that either. You had to look that up in a book too, a book called the dictionary, and guess how it might be spelled so you can get close to it and find it in the dictionary. So when boomers say, and I'm at the end, I'm actually at a cusp between a boomer and a Gen X, but when y'all say that shit, it's easy for it to fly out of your mouth. But what you don't understand is, like, a lot of us know what the F we're talking about when we say just look it up. I don't have time to look up shit online. Do you know how much time it takes to do what I just did? What I just explained? Do you know how long it takes to look it up in a dictionary when all you have to do is pop it on and they can even word spell check it? And you don't have time for that? Really? But in the same breath, you lambast and complain and mock and blame past generations, boomers the most, when we were handed a world in a certain state, just like you're being handed one. Get off the blame game, seriously, as far as that kind of crap goes. Because the blame is, if you don't understand something, you learn about it. And I've had so many people that, in good faith, they'll say, well, I want to have a discussion. So I started, I'll answer. And they start doing this blame crap. If you're going to approach something that way, then sometimes there is actually nobody or everybody kind of thing to blame. But you need to stop making fun of us, because guess what? Y'all who voted the first time this last election and a couple elections before, it was my generation that kept Roe versus Wade. Isn't my generation that all those years all of us were adhering to it, and suddenly it's gone. So don't bitch about the boomers, because y'all, your generations, you're making mistakes too. You're effing up too. Okay? So just because it's not all decades written down in the history books for you guys yet, you figure you have just carte blanche to, blame them and blame them and them and them, when your test hasn't even been scored yet. How dare you assess and judge other generations when your generation is just starting to make its mark on the world? And gee, look at the mark it's making. I'm not blaming you guys. I'm just saying we could say the same thing to you. Oh, well, we fought to keep my generation. When I was born is when they were getting their rights and stuff, or just gotten them. And look at that. Your generation screwed them all up. And then you'll say, oh, well, it was all the boomer voters. Really? Guess what? It was all the boomer voters for decades that kept Roe versus Wade in. So like I said, I'm not saying, oh, this is your fault. What I'm saying is knock off the boomer bullshit. Knock off the millennials are this, the X is this, the Z is it. Stop. They can be classed with errors as far as technology, like in the 90s, where It was mid 90s where just pretty much computers were in a lot of many homes. Um, we all have our good and our bad from our generation. But the thing about judging, being a young generation with only a decade behind you or something, and you have the nerve to like judge. It's one thing to assess other generations. It's another thing to point at them. And I see a lot of youngsters doing that, pointing at the, oh, you effed up our country, you effed up our world, you effed up our planet. You have your issues too. There have been a lot of narcissistic, self-absorbed folks that came out of some generations below me. The whole influencer thing, that is not a boomer thing. And that's not all respects, but in a lot of respects, it's a fiasco. People have died because influencers. I'm an influencer. I'm an influencer, don't you know? Yes, I'm an influencer. Mm-hmm. Yes. Please. You didn't see politics acting the way they are. And there's people in generations younger than mine in politics, okay, in their 40s and stuff, that are complete and utter jackwads. So I'm just saying, cut a little slack with that, because generations stop. Republicans are already intent on dividing. Hitler knew this, because when you can divide people, you can conquer small groups easily. Instead of tackling it as one big group, look for differences in those people. Oh, they have blonde hair. Oh, they have green eyes. Well, put those over there. Oh, and just start dividing them. Oh, those gardeners. Yeah. And it's easy to capture the minds of smaller, like-minded groups. And once you've got the gardener people, opposers, and the gardeners, then you can weave them together. His little favorite thing. But seriously, you don't think it was done in other countries and other eras? Of course that's how it was. That's the handbook. You divide them into small factions, conquer those small factions, and then bring them all together with something against those evil Democrats, those evil liberals, those evil progressive people. Yeah, it's exactly how you do it. So if you don't know a word that you hear a liberal, progressive, Democrat say, or any word actually, because MAGA does that. They'll slip a word in, use it a lot, so you're used to hearing the word, but you don't look it up and you have no clue to what it is. And then later he can say, after he uses your vote, he can say, well, he told you all of that. And he also told you he likes the uneducated. The uneducated don't bother educating themselves when they don't know something. So he put it all in front of you. You knew he was a snake. Still you let him in. And you let it in 2 times now. So, first time, alright, he deceived you. Second time, get your shit together, people. Peace out.